Here is another bladder. Once again, you could recognize a mucosal epithelial portion and a muscular wall. There's something very, very, very wrong with this bladder, as you could immediately recognize. First, the bladder wall is extensively infiltrated with inflammatory cells. Secondly, if you look at the mucosa, which is really the most bizarre portion, it is tremendously proliferated. It is proliferated to the degree that rather than being relatively flat, the mucosa is forming these little papillae to increase the mucosal area. In addition, this epithelium, as you could see here, invades beyond the basement membrane and into the muscular wall of the bladder. So let's look at this epithelium. These are transitional cells. These are transitional cells that are malignant. They are malignant for all the usual features. Mainly, there's very little differentiation. Some of them are large, bizarre, hyperchromatic. You could see a mitosis here, probably here. This is a transitional cell or urothelial carcinoma that you could see is impinging or invading the smooth muscle of the bladder wall. Because it is still fairly recognizable, however, as being transitional, and the amount of aberrations that we talked about, like hyperchromasia and pleomorphism, is not terribly bad, even though in here it's kind of nastier, isn't it? This is not regarded as a high-grade transitional papillary transitional carcinoma. This is on the lower end. So if you want to assign the numbers 1, 2, 3 to it, this would be more like a 1 perhaps. You could still recognize it as bladder. Also note that most of the infiltrates in the bladder wall are inflammatory cells. But if you look real hard and you happen to find a nest of transitional cells, then you could say, well, it really invaded a little bit deeper than we thought. Now let me see. Are these transitional cells? Oh, I don't think so. I think that's probably the edge of a blood vessel. Let's see if we could just quickly find another area of a deeper infiltration. Here's a nice little infiltrated area, isn't it? You could see that the transitional cells here are being a little bit more invasive directly into the surrounding smooth muscle. But I think that what we have here are probably blood vessels. However, if you want to spend the time to look very carefully, you may find some more infiltrative nests. I believe this may be one here, but it looks like it is fairly superficially infiltrative. So once again, this is not a high stage tumor. We already know it's not high grade, and we can also suspect it's not high stage either. However, if the bladder of this person was taken out and we find later on that there were metastases in the liver, then it would be high stage, wouldn't it? Thank you very much.